Stop, give me something. It'd be better with the lights left on. Wait for me, darling. I could go for more of your slow song. Slow down, yeah. We got time to split up, ain't no well. Tell me more about the way you love and taking off at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Howdy, folks. Today, let's talk about the Simgot EA500, and I got people asking me all the time what's the music I'm playing. It's right here, 53 Thieves, and this track is called 3 a.m. Awesome, synthwave, EDM something band. Go look them up. They're awesome. They played that stuff live also, which is killer. Male and female vocals harmonizing. Love it, man. Moving on. Welcome back. We are going to talk about the Simgot EA500 today. It's 69 big monies. It's got a lot of hype right now for a damn good reason. I think Hawaii Bad Boy initially got one of these, I think, and was incredibly blown away by it, especially for the price of $69. And Paulwasabi got one, and that's the one I've got right now. So let's all thank Paulwasabi for doing the good work and sending me stuff, because I don't buy stuff much anymore. All right, $69. We have a 1 dynamic driver, 10 millimeter. It says dual magnetic, dual cavity, which probably is fairly standard for most dynamic drivers you might find. But what's interesting is it does say it's a 4th generation DLC, diamond light carbon. And specifically why this is interesting is if we scroll down, here's their little web page. It's got all their little, blurbs and blah blahs about it. But I noticed this right down here, and it says, it can be said very responsibly that the resolution of this diaphragm and driver has no essential difference between that on a $150 USD and above product. And I believe that's really true. If you want a teardown of this driver, I'm not doing that to these because this is Paul's set, but you could go look up Hi-Fry on YouTube, and I believe he tore this set apart, pulled the driver out, and you can go look at that. It's really cool. Just to mention that, Hi-Fry is a cool guy. Okay, so then, I just talked about the manufacturer stating this driver is probably more expensive than the price, and I do believe that is true, which is kind of amazing. It is a 16 ohm impedance, so we divide by 8. That means that our output impedance of whatever device we're going to use needs to be 2 ohms or lower. That is, so it doesn't change the tonality. Should work for mostly everything. It says it's got 123 decibels per VRMS. I think that's equivalent to milliwatt. I'm not sure. But basically what that means is they're fairly sensitive, and you should be able to get them very loud off of pretty much anything, including a phone. That's not to say that a phone with higher than 2 ohm output impedance won't mess around with the tonality, but they'll get loud. All right, they have red bores and black bores, which we can see they look like these little guys right here. You can unscrew them. The red bores have just a damper in them. I already took them apart. And the black bores have a damper plus a little piece of foam, which I've got in this little bag right here. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. Little gray foams in there. Pulled those out. I actually replaced, I don't think that the foam and damper bores are anything better than just damper bores, the red ones. So I'm choosing red. But I thought, well, let's go ahead and pull the stuff out of the black bores and replace the dampers with a tenstem oxygen damper, and I did that, and it sounds very, very, very good, and I'll get to that in a second. Definitely not a downgrade on that, so that's cool. All right, so let's move on to the fit and finish. And I really like the fit on these. The finish is very nice. Chrome, come on, focus. Very nice chrome. They are heavy. They're made of steel, but... And the big but for me is that they actually fit in my ears really well, so the weight is relieved. And the ear hooks on the cable are way too damn tight. just to mention that. No one's ears look like that, but it does provide a very solid fit in the ears, and you can shake your head around, and at least for me, they don't do anything. They stick in there really well, so at least that part's good. Compared to Moondrops, which is immediately the thing that pops into my mind, these are much more comfortable, although about as heavy, so, give or take. So the cable, as far as that actually looks and the quality of it, this guy right here, I do like it a lot. It's a very pretty cable, nice and shiny silver. It's got this, the splitter right there, plastic, not too heavy, which is good because, like, I remember Fearless had a cable with like a 10-pound weight as a chin splitter, and it was like, really, guys? Hilariously not good. And then we got the little 3.5 millimeter. So I like the cable. It's pretty. It's not too stiff, but I do like them a little more supple and a little thinner just for my own taste. But again, nice cable for $69. I'm going to call the cable a complete win. Moving on, let's talk about the sound quality a little bit. So on their graph here, or on their webpage, we have two graphs. So this is the red on the left side and black on the right side. And according to these guys, we have about, well, I measured it, and it is just about 10 decibels of pinna gain, maybe just slightly under that, with, not sure, I'm going to put a number on it, but, a reasonable bass shelf here. And you might look at this and go, well, I'm not sure if that's enough bass. And honestly, listening to this, it's got quite a nice amount of low-end, organic, low mids and high bass. And the mids, the bass, the sub bass itself are very resonant and engaging, and lots of air. And I mean, the bass is actually really good on these. And it doesn't seem like it would be, well, as much as it is from the graphs. So we'll just say that. And here's my graph right here. Just did, okay, so there's two graphs on here. And the blue graph is the, let me just make sure I got that. Yeah, the blue graph is the red stock damper. Okay, so that's that. And then, so this is showing us that we have, that's about 9 to 10 decibels of pinna gain. And then from here we got, I don't know, what are we at? 70, maybe like 5 to 6 decibels of bass shelf there. So the red dampers are in blue, and the Tantrum Oxygen, which I replaced the black nozzles, that's in orange. And actually it does give you just a wee bit more, what is that? Like between 6 and 7K, well, 5 and 7K we'll say. That's about a decibel or two. So you get a little bit of extra in the uppers there. But listening to this, it actually sounds to me like the oxygen dampers give it a little more of a deep tonality, a little more resonance factor. The graph doesn't show it like that, at least I don't think it does. But I might actually prefer the black dampers with the oxygen dampers on them. It's just a little bit, like I said, a little bit of a deeper tonality, and I really enjoy it. But there's no losing here. Both of these, if you do an oxygen, but also the red, just stock stuff, they're both fantastic. And it's not like one's better than the other. It's just probably preference. But just to mention that, it's a great little modification you could do. Okay, so the overall tonality is probably like harmonish. They actually are fairly similar in overall just sound to the Tantrum Oxygen, with the difference of high mids are a little bit lower than the oxygen for sure, so there's a little more forgiveness there. But what I don't really find is that these are lower resolution than the oxygen, and I'm sure someone can argue with me. I asked a buddy of mine, and he said now that the oxygens are much better. I sold mine probably almost a year ago, so I can't really test those anymore. I remember them really well, but anyways, just to mention that, they're close, lower high mids probably. I would say also the Tantrum Oxygens have maybe just a little bit more high OCD details. That would be like between 9 and maybe 15K compared to these, but these are no slouches. They do have energy up there. So, that. And I would say that overall, let's just talk about the stage. It's nice and wide, and that's probably the first thing that folks are going to notice when they stick these in their ears. The wideness and the stage is closer to a much higher end set than you might imagine, and so that immediately just makes me extremely happy. For $69, that's just Jesus Christ. That's really good, really good. Nice wide stage, excellent upper mid details. So even though these don't have as much as the Oxygen, I find them to be as resolute as the Oxygen is in the mids, which are very nice and organic, fleshed out, all those buzzwords or whatever you want to call it. But I find the mids really nice and natural sounding and organic. The OCDs are within reason. I think you could get better on a higher end set, but I think for like if you just imagine these as being say like 200, 250 bucks, and that's probably about correct for the OCD replay, the twinklies, the stuff like that. They really do give an air of a higher resolution than you might be used to with a lower end dynamic driver. We'll say that. And the bass doesn't look like it should be as good, at least from the graph, as it is. The bass I find to be extraordinarily nice on these. Just everything about it is super nice. Separated, resonant, textured. It has a bouncy quality versus a thudding quality, which I really appreciate. So just everything, man. So, I got a couple little ratings here. So I said bass 9 out of 10, mids 8.5 out of 10, treble 8.5 out of 10. Stage, we're going to give a 9 out of 10 with the exception of the layering. So if that goes into stage, then I do find the layering to be less than a $200 or $250 set. It's probably closer to $100. So the layering, I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. Resolution, I find to be a little higher than it should be probably, but it's a 8.5 out of 10, I'll call it. And wideness will give a 8.5 out of 10. So really, like I said, 69 bucks, this is just killing it. I think their retail is 79, but you can find them for 69, maybe even 59 in some places, and sales and things. And let's talk about some music categories, some genres that I like. We'll just go through this quick. Blues, 10 out of 10, amazing. So Robert Cray, the vocals, just phenomenal, really, really good. Some of the better Robert Cray vocals I've heard on any set ever. Ry Cooder, Paris, Texas, was absolutely stunning. And I would say also, a bit in my face. I think it's because when you have 10 decibels of pin gain, as we see over here, that tends to be, depending on the track and the IEM, that you might get a little bit of in-your-face tonality. So like vocals are kind of like right, not between your eyes or in your head, but right smack in front of you, versus set back a little bit in the stage. So that I don't find it to be off-putting. But like I said, it was very. Very, very good replay. All the tonality, everything was right where it should be. Excellent stage, everything. So blues, 10 out of 10. Classical was wonderful. Eric Satie, I think it's Gymnopedes. I'm definitely not saying that right. It was absolutely excellent, emotional, perfect bass for classical, which can be too much if you have a bass head styled set. Your classical is going to have too much thud, too much air coming out of it, and you don't want that. You want a more enveloping mid-focused type of tonality. Perfect bass for classical. The treble balance was excellent, perfect. Sergio Nassad, those are dueling classical guitarist, nylon classicals, was very wide, and the staging was like as if I'm in the venue. Very, very, very nice. So classical 10 out of 10 easily. Disco was pretty decent. There are a couple hot spots. Some tracks just mixed badly. They get like a ton of mids, and these have a ton of mids, and you get too much mids and some stuff. But mostly, like I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor was a little hot in the vocals, but the vocals sounded perfectly correct. So, that. Funky Town, yeah, man, I went to Funky Town. Killer. Disco, really nice. Electronica was one of the better things you can play on this, I would say. The more bass, the bigger bass, the more bombastic bass, the more wide staging, the effects, the better this thing scales. It's an EDM boss. I'm pretty sure of that, man. Everything I played was just phenomenal. And, I just started out with the 53 Thieves track, and that is just wow on these things. The bass on all of these electronics things I've heard is really, really detailed, separated, and just phenomenal. So electronica, 10 out of 10. Jazz, Alex DeGrassi, Around Midnight, made me very relaxed and contemplative, which you would want out of that type of music. And I found it to be delicious, shall we say. So bass and treble are near perfect for jazz. Very, very good. 10 out of 10 on jazz. And then we get down to some of the more rough spots. So we got metal. I would say 60 good, 40%, 60% good, 40% fail. The fail tracks are mostly tracks that had a lot of mids, and I really don't like 10 decibels of pinna for most metal stuff. That's just not my thing anymore. But good tracks had lots of mid bass, so that kind of combated that, and not a whole ton of treble and mids on the tracks that I found to be really good. So, and like, I play metal, I play guitar, and so basically I'm highly, highly, highly picky, and so that's why you're getting that. So I'm gonna probably go ahead and I won't pass for metal, but I'm gonna say it's not gonna be my pick, right? It's not my pick. R&B was absolutely excellent. Beastie Boys, Groove Holmes had me grooving my butt. Sade, Lovers Rock was amazing, seductive. Sade's voice from back in those days was like, it's one of the most sexy voices I find. Reggae was like 9 out of 10. Just about everything I played was fantastic. Bob Marley, fantastic. Especially the newer stuff. Older stuff was a little more rough, but that stuff is like, I don't know whether they recorded it on tapes or what. Abyssinians, absolutely amazing. Long Beach Dub All Stars have a new track. It's called Precious Times. Go find it on YouTube. I'm an absolutely huge fan of Sublime and Long Beach Dub All Stars. Precious Times killed it for this. Absolutely awesome. Singing along. Reggae is awesome. My dog wants in a second. I will just continue and finish this up. Rock, Perfect Circle. Magdalena was absolutely excellent. Layering, very nice here, although layering is not the high point on this set. Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms was stunning. Absolutely stunning. Fantastic. And just a couple of badly mixed tracks were a little off-putting, which I can't fault this for, so we're going to give it a 9 out of 10 for rock. Soundtrack OSTs. I'm going to say they were pretty good. I prefer a set with a little more bass and a little better layering for OSTs to really punch. But it was quite good overall. Vaporwave and Synthwave, absolutely fantastic. 10 out of 10. Just everything about it was awesome as hell. Just all the effects and things that you can find in Vaporwave were just really did my ears pleasure. And Vintage and Lounge, we have Buena Vista Social Club. Chan Chan, awesome, absolutely awesome. I love the vocals on this set. And some of the worst mixed older vintage stuff I have was a little more rough because of the 10 decibels of pinna gain, but it wasn't like, bad tonality or anything, just a little bit peaky in that area. And the conclusion, we are going to say buy. This is a buy now. This has to be my pick under 120 bucks for a while at least, till I find something better. Haha. But no, I mean this set I believe probably should have been priced somewhere in the $200 to $250 range. I think people would have enjoyed it at that price point just as much as the $69 price point. I would also say that I really enjoy the fact that you can mod this with the extra bores. So what I do is I get the black dampers, the black nozzles, because I don't particularly like them better than the red. So I just went ahead and modified those with the oxygen. But the point I'm trying to make is you can modify one set of dampers and leave the other one stock if that's your deal, and have a good time. It's nice and fun and easy to do. And yeah, high recommendation. Highly awesome set. Don't know how Simgot managed to pull this out of their buns, but they did, and they deserve some credit for this thing. Hopefully they can do even better on their next whatever it is. Right on, and I will talk to you later.